The jukebox rattled softly in the corner while neon signs buzzed above rain-streaked windows. It was one of those roadside bars where truckers, bikers, and lost souls crossed paths on long nights. Outside, a storm was brewing. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of coffee, oil, and damp leather jackets. Behind the counter moved a young waitress named Emily, balancing trays and smiles despite the weariness etched into her face. Nobody noticed the thin tremor in her hands as she poured drinks and cleared tables, nor the way she kept tugging her sleeve down as if to hide something beneath. On that night, a dozen bikers had rolled in out of the storm, their boots clapping on the floorboards, laughter rising above the clatter of dishes. Among them was a big man with a scar down his cheek who slammed his drink on the counter and reached out to pay. In the same moment, Emily turned with a tray, caught the edge on his belt buckle, and the thin fabric of her shirt tore with a sickening rip. The bar went silent. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of hidden stories, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Hidden Hearts. Your support helps us bring more true and heart-touching stories to light. For a heartbeat, nobody breathed. Emily froze, clutching at the torn fabric. The biker's hands hovered in midair, his mouth opening to speak, but no words coming. As the rip exposed the top of her shoulder, a faded blue tattoo became visible, a small set of angel wings encircling a name and a date. It wasn't a wild party tattoo. It was the kind of ink you get when life has left you with more pain than you can carry. Around the wings was a faint scar, jagged and pale against her skin. The biker dropped his gaze and something shifted in his expression. The other patrons followed his eyes. In that small patch of revealed skin was a story no one in the bar had expected to see. Emily's backstory wasn't written on her face, but it lived in the tired slump of her shoulders. She had lost her little brother 2 years earlier in an accident she never spoke of, and the angel wings were her way of keeping him close. Since then, she'd been working nights to pay for nursing school, hiding her grief beneath polite smiles. The scar was from the crash that had taken her brother. She'd been in the passenger seat and had survived. She rarely let anyone see it, afraid of pity or judgment. The torn shirt laid it all bare. The biker who'd accidentally caused the tear, his name was Mark, was not the caricature the bar imagined. He had served 2 tours overseas, carried his own ghosts, and had been raised by a waitress mother who died too young. When he saw Emily's tattoo and scar, it was like looking into a mirror of loss. In the heavy quiet that followed, he took off his own leather vest and draped it gently over her shoulders, a gesture so unexpected that even the jukebox seemed to hush. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but she kept her head down, clutching the vest closed. From that moment, the atmosphere in the bar shifted. Mark told the bartender to cancel his tab and instead started a collection for Emily among his crew. The bikers, rough and weathered from the road, quietly pulled bills from their pockets. It wasn't charity, and it was respect. Word spread quickly across the tables, and strangers added their coins. By the end of the night, Emily had enough to cover a semester of school. More than the money, though, was the feeling of being seen, not as a faceless server, but as a human being with a story. Over the next weeks, the bikers became regulars, always sitting in Emily's section. They fixed a leak under the bar without charging, brought in groceries on slow nights, and even held a charity ride for the local hospital in honor of her brother's memory. Emily slowly found her voice again. She enrolled back in her nursing classes, started to believe she could finish. The bar, once a stopover for strangers, became a small community bound by an accidental act that had exposed not shame, but shared humanity. On the anniversary of her brother's passing, Emily invited Mark and his crew to a candlelight vigil. Under the open sky, she spoke for the first time about her loss and her dreams. Mark stood beside her, silent but steady, the scar on his cheek catching the light of the candles. The people who had been in the bar that night were there too, and when she finished, they formed a circle around her. In that circle, she felt for the first time since the accident that she was not alone. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you of the quiet power of compassion and second chances, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to Hidden Hearts, and leave a comment about how it made you feel. Your engagement helps us continue to tell stories that move and inspire people around the world. And before we close, we have a special request. Comment below and tell us about a time when a stranger's unexpected kindness changed your life, or when you offered kindness to someone else. Your story might be the one that inspires someone else to look past the surface and choose empathy over judgment.